And welcome into another episode of Off Script. And here we go. The College Football Playoff National Championship game is upon us. The Miami Hurricanes taking on the Indiana Hoosiers on a Monday night in Miami. For all the marbles. For all the marbles, baby. Here we go. The spread right now, Indiana 8.5, which is a little bit big for a national championship game in my opinion. But the way this Indiana team's been playing, you're like, well, maybe that's actually not enough. But let's take a look at these teams real quick. Starting off with Miami. Miami right now, probably the most physical team I've seen in the playoff. Physicality just in general for me, when I think physicality, that usually tends to win at the line of scrimmage. And right now, I brought this up in my preview video, early thought video. This Indiana offensive line taking on this Miami defensive line, I think is like really the matchup to watch in this game. This is one of those rare games where I might not even be watching the football during this. I might just be watching these lines go at it because it's almost like an unstoppable force meets an immovable object, and they're just going to be going at it for 4 quarters, hopefully for 4. I mean, I think one will break eventually, but this Miami defense, their physicality, their ability to rush the passer is what's been kind of keeping them in this playoff, keeping them in games right now. And I think it's going to be huge for Miami in this game, really give them a shot to win in this game if they can just continue the longevity of physicality in this game. Moving on here, and I feel like no one's really talking about this too much, but yards after contact is huge for Miami in this game. One play specifically last game, and this Ole Miss game I want to bring up, is this 3rd and 6. There's 10 minutes and 40 seconds on the clock in the second quarter. I think a lot of people already know what I'm about to talk about here, but Malachi Toney runs almost like a whip route, like 2 yards in front of the line of scrimmage. So it looks like he's about to get tackled. There's like 3 defenders about to tackle him. Somehow gets out of it and gets a first down, and they end up scoring on that drive. So I think in this game, the one play, I'm a big believer in matchup games, one play makes a difference. In that game, in that Ole Miss game, that one play was the difference maker for winning and losing in that game. So in this game, Malachi Toney, Mark Fletcher, these talented guys they have on the outside need to be able to make people miss and fall forward, and also not just be skittish, not being cute with the jukes. Like, run north-south. We don't have time to, be cute. We got to get first downs. We got to stay on schedule. I think staying on schedule, making people miss, yards after contact, like I said, is huge for Miami in this game. And again, we'll just give them that much more of a boost to win this game. And then finally here, and this is a big one, you just need to find a way to get Mendoza off schedule. And this is a little hard just because there's not really – look at the entire season. You look at this guy, like, he really hasn't been off schedule at all. He's always just has a plan. He's just running his offense. And, yes, that is a big ask here just because it hasn't really been done all season by any team. But when you look at these teams in the playoffs or Big Ten championships like Ohio State, which, by the way, has been a common opponent, and Ohio State held them to 13 points. So if I'm Miami, I'm really looking at that Ohio State film against Indiana and seeing, because, again, common opponent, see what they did, see what you did. Who knows? But in this game, how do you get Fernando Mendoza off schedule? Theoretically, for me, I think like maybe an early turnover, get in his head a little bit, continued pressure, like I said. I brought up physicality, just continue to pepper that offensive line, just make Mendoza almost, like have to scramble, get out of the pocket. Granted, he can run, but can only run for so long, and then your linebackers and secondary will help clean it up. But in this game, and games in general, I should say, Mendoza really hasn't been flustered. I mean, you look at this Ohio State game, he was knocked out of the game and then ends up winning the game 13-10. And then even in the Alabama game, the opening drive, he was sacked 1 or 2 times at the opening drive. These Alabama fans are like, really? This is the Indiana team? And they end up losing by 35 points. So what can Miami do to get Mendoza off schedule? That's going to be the big question in this game. But we'll see. And then moving on to Indiana. And this is no secret here, but they've been doing this the entire playoff. Need a fast start here. Put points on the board early, because you do not want to give this Miami team hope in general. If you don't put points up on the board, then they're going to be like, hey, like we can do this. Like, hey, then confidence starts to build. Then it's a momentum shift too in the game. You don't want to play their game. You want them to play your game, meaning you get up early, then they have to they're trailing and they're going to catch up. So Need to continue to do that if you're Indiana. Next thing here, continue to convert on third downs. Huge for Indiana. That's basically their entire offense in general. This Indiana team is the best third down conversion team in the country, and it's by a large margin. They're first, and then there's a big gap, and then second, I think, is Ohio State. But still, as a defensive player, it is absolutely demoralizing to just continuously converting on third down. Because after the first one, they'll be like, hey, like, dang, like we almost had him there. It was a good play. And then after like the fourth and fifth and sixth one, then they're like, what are we doing? Like, coach, call the right play. Like, let's get a stop here. Then they kind of like start going at each other. That's what you want. You want to like get them scrambled. And that's how this Indiana team kind of plays. They just continue. They get to third and manageable, third and short, automatic first down. Let's move the chains. Because they're one of these rare teams where they can make a long drive possible, but also they can just make an explosive play happen like that, which is pretty incredible to see. But last thing here, and I don't think this is too big of a deal, but I just wanted to bring this up. Just cannot let the moment get too big. And I don't think this is going to be an issue just because from what I've seen of this Indiana team so far, given the Big Ten championship, given the first round of the playoff that they played in against Alabama in the Rose Bowl, then Oregon. They played 3 really big games back to back to back. So this is just another game here. They shouldn't, do too much. Shouldn't prepare just an extra amount. Like, yes, you haven't won a national championship in your entire program history. I understand that. And this game means a lot to y'all. I understand that, but don't change that. Just realize, like, let's just play our game. Let's just continue to do our thing. And odds are, if we play our best is enough. And you're going to end up winning this game. But my final prediction for the national championship game here, it really wasn't too much of a toss-up here, just from watching the film and seeing these two teams play. But this Indiana team is just so fundamentally sound. Rarely make mistakes, rarely make penalties. So with that being said, I have Indiana winning against Miami 38-24, and the Indiana Hoosiers are your national champions for the first time in their program history. So congrats to them, man. What a historic season. But Indiana fans, Miami fans, let me know what you guys think. Let me know your predictions. I want to hear from you guys. But like I said, do not forget to subscribe to the channel, like the video. It helps me out a lot. I'll see you guys soon.